Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I love these golf stories. I really do. Listen to this one. The golfer's ready to tee off, and he says, "I'd move heaven and earth to break 100 on this course." And the caddy looks at him and says, "Try heaven, sir. You've already moved most of the earth." Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call us. Good morning. Oh, good morning on a Wednesday. Morning, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. Good morning to you and your family. And our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And thank you very much to the Les Schwab Tire Centers. Along with some of our great advertisers, Western Way Service is always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call 734-6969. And Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, including all your bug and fly spray. Ooh, they're getting nasty. Valleywide Home and Ranch, the best folks to work with at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. And right now, our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, Dal, you always are committed to helping on the program, and I appreciate it. God bless you and your wonderful, quiet, shy wife this morning.
You're welcome, young man.
All right, my friend. God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you so much. June Dairy Month, and, of course, our salute goes out to the United Dairymen of Idaho, as we've been saluting them all month long. Thank you very much. Right now, it's time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-6945. And today is We Can Do It Wednesday. Yep, replacing your door trim with thick Craftsman trim will help add a pretty and unique look to your house. Yeah, they got all these little tips for you. You betcha at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And find out more. Give them a call or stop in at 678-6945. All your newly refurbished furniture, everything you need to make your house a home. Thanks to Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And right now, here is the weather.
With your weather forecast from Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Gina Jameson, looking at mostly sunny skies for today. Slightly breezy, really not going to cool us off, though. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. High of 91. Tonight, expect a low near 58. Now, for tomorrow, looks like sunny skies. High of 93 with an overnight low of 58. Creeping up to 96 for Friday. And then as we head on into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looks like highs are going to be in the triple digits. So make sure you wear sunscreen and drink plenty of water.
Whoa.
Forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Hot summer. And you know what? Don't go hanging global warming or anything on. We always get a little patch of this every year, so don't worry about it. Hey, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Call them at 678-6945. I want to remind you tonight, Wednesday, the Jerome County Fairgrounds, Dave Zanino putting on another of the series team ropings, 3 for $25. Start at 6:30 with sign up, rope at 7. And they're going to donate to the Minnecasia Relay for Life tonight. And God bless Dave and Dawn and all they do. And they're going to have a food booth over there with the proceeds going to help the Minnecasia Relay for Life. So I really respect them for that. Thank you very much. Ramsey Heating and Electric, don't forget 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. You just heard the forecast. You just heard Gina say that by this weekend we could see triple digits in the thermometer. Yeah, and that means it's going to get hot. So if you want your air conditioner to work effectively and efficiently, you better make sure that you've got a brand new clean air filter for that air conditioner. And you can get a case of 12 of those air filters at discount pricing. So stop in to Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers. You know, a little bit ago I mentioned about Valley-Wide Home and Ranch at 910 South Oneida in Rupert, and they've got all the fly spray and bug spray. Oh, it's getting hot, and nothing is peskier than sitting in the shade in your favorite chair or something and just taking your arms and waving around all the time like you're trying to land aircraft on an aircraft carrier. Get rid of those flies and bugs. They've got all the spray for you right over there at Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. And don't forget, too, they've got a great fishing department. And even the worms, they got everything over there in that fishing department, along with your fishing licenses, too, at Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Really, really good folks. Okay, thank you very much. I want to get serious here for a few moments, and on this program we tell it like it is or we don't tell it at all. And if somebody is offended by that, that is their problem, not ours, because I'm going to be honest. The leadership of the College of Southern Idaho and various other lefties that have behind my back called me and others like me bigots and hate mongers because we are against what they're doing with the refugee program at CSI. And also, this is to the sponges that accept without question what's going on in their world. That is pitiful. We all need to question. We all need to find out more information. We all need to find out the facts. Well, I'm going to state some of the facts right now. And I have a compilation of newspaper stories from various newspapers. I have a compilation of written articles by members of the FBI and also Homeland Security. And I am a little bit more than sick and tired of having local folks with the college and also like the couple that wrote a letter in the Times News the other day, saying that we, the supposed hate mongers, don't know what we're talking about. Well, a new poll came out, and it was on the O'Reilly Factor last night, and I had written and heard about this a little bit prior to O'Reilly going on the air. I had called back to New York City and also Washington, D.C., to a couple of the think tanks that provide all this information. And they also had told me that the poll was out that 51%, now I'm going to say this really slow so all my detractors and haters of me, listen up. 51% of the Muslims here in America. Did that sink in? 51% of the Muslims here in America want Sharia law over our constitutional law. Now, just in case that slid right by and you didn't get that inside your earlobes, 51% of those asked, and they did quite a survey and quite a poll on this, wanted Sharia law here in this country. Now, that is a little bit more than spooky. And I'm going to also throw this into the fray. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, a Muslim, and I respect this man. He's been on my program numerous times. You've seen him on television numerous times. And he said, watch out. Watch out for the tide turning against our laws and our courts with the influx of Muslims coming into this country, whether refugees or whatever. Watch out. And we, the United States, it was stated by him last night, have absolutely no plan to stop radicalization. None! And I revert back to a newspaper story that came out in our Times News even a couple of days ago when they were talking about the refugee program. And they said many refugees, and I'm reading right from the Times News, I'm not making this up in my own script. Many refugees don't have documentation when they cross the border into a host country. Well, they don't have all the necessary information. We don't know all the necessary information. We have nothing but their word. I'm a little bit more than concerned, and I'm sick and tired of being backed into a corner and called a hate monger, etc. This is ridiculous. And when you have a lack of quality leadership, which we have a complete lack of quality leadership, like Barack Obama that says, and I'm quoting, many Americans have a distorted impression of Muslims. This is the same man, this is the same president that has denigrated Christians for their reliance on the Bible, etc. And then he tells us that many Americans have a distorted impression of Muslims. I'm totally offended. Your calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If you don't voice your opinion on this, I'm assuming that your acceptance is like what I said earlier, sponges that accept things without questions, and also that you really don't deserve answers. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you about Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and Thomas and Terry and the whole crew always serving you with the very best of not only service, but also the best of food. Oh, it is delicious. We really appreciate having Zeb's Lunch Bunch over there every month, and you're going to love it whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The menu choices are phenomenal. So stop in at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley, and the new location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. It is delicious. Denny's Restaurant. Thank you very much. Also, Berry Equipment and Rental, they've got the equipment to do the job and get it done right. Absolutely. They've got 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, West Highway 30 in Burley, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls. And at the Burley store, they got a 66 horsepower tractor with free loader, only $29,995. You better check it out. Call Nick and the crew today, or, of course, will everybody at Berry Equipment and Rental. They're to serve you with the equipment that you need to get the job done right. You know, I want to hear that phone ringing, and I don't want to stand alone on this. I don't want to stand alone on this. I want to know, and I do know many people that support me on this, and especially with what's happening in this country. I'm very, very concerned that the barriers and barricades that will keep us a sovereign and respected nation are being torn down and thrown away. And I'll give you another story, a related story to what I just talked about a moment ago. The Southern Poverty Law Center, a really messed up, goofy liberal association, has put women that you know that are in the news every day on a jihad hit list. I can't make things up like this. Names like Brigitte Gabriel, who's been on my program many, many times. She's scheduled to be on again next week. Ann Coulter, Laura Ingram, and many more. What in the heck is going on here? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I'm totally with you. I'd like to know how many millions and millions of dollars are being dumped into CSI on their programs to program our younger children into becoming socialist pawns, I guess you would call it, by Barack Obama.
I don't know, but the gullibility and the absolute lack of transparency for what is being done right here locally with our college and also up at Boise State University. It just burns me up. And then to be called a hate monger and a bigot and said that, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. You know, they don't love people. Oh, they're unkind and everything. I'm fed up with it. I'm asking legitimate questions. You should ask legitimate questions, and there should be answers, because I'll tell you what, Tony, across the board, there are other areas of hot spots, and trouble is brewing, and I want to know that it is not going to happen here.
Well, the White House has become a Trojan horse, and as I said yesterday, I believe CSI is the same way.
I used to have a lot of respect and want to help and be a part of the College of Southern Idaho, but I don't anymore. And I'm very questioning as to the leadership of the college. I'm very questioning as to their gullibility and naivete, and I'm very questioning as to why this deal was consummated in the first place.
Well, why would they? Why are they still funding this march towards socialism? This is what gets me. You know, when I moved to Idaho from basically a socialist state, I thought I was moving into a conservative bastion, but I see the same thing happening here that happened where I came.
I am really concerned for safety, security, and sensibility. I guess that's the best way to say it. The 3 S's: safety, sensibility, and security of what's going on in this country. And every single night that I sit down and make my notes for the next day's program, Tony, it just gets worse and worse and worse. I don't care what it is, whether it's this problem with the refugees or whether it's an illegal alien story. I have about had it.
Well, infect the minds of the young people towards socialism, and this is what's happening at CSI.
Yeah. I got to run, but Tony, I appreciate, and by the way, I respect your calling and speaking out. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, buddy, thanks. I knew that man would speak out. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends with BASF and Ron Ellis. And, of course, excellent research for all the products to help your Idaho crops grow and prosper from BASF. Products like Preaxor for black dot control in your potatoes. And also other great products like, of course, along with Preaxor, we're also talking about some of the great products like, and I'm trying to find my list because it fell on the floor, and we have Endura, and also many others that are going to help your potatoes and your sugar beets grow and prosper. And for more information, contact your fieldmen or your crop advisors or my dear friend Ron Ellis at 431-6776. Remember, BASF, helping your crops grow and prosper here in the state of Idaho. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Just wanted to add my support to you. You know, some of these people that put you down, and as you say, hate you and everything, are extremists in their own right, and they are either awfully stupid or awfully just ignorant of the reality of what we're going through. You know, even when our four founding fathers started this nation, at least they had leadership that supported the case against Britain, and today we don't have the leadership. And I don't see where we're going to get it. All of these people running for office, I don't trust any of them. What are we going to do? We're not only in a minority today, but we're losing the battle, and I don't know what to do to help you.
Well, let me just ask you this, and please help me a little bit with an answer on this. Whatever happened to the America First attitude? Whatever happened to protecting us first? Why is it now a sin? Why is it now something negative to look at us, the United States of America, and put us first? What happened to us? We've started to be all things to everybody else in the world, and we forgot about us.
Yeah, we took the easy way, Zeb. Long ago, we started taking the easy way.
Well, I know you're upset about it, but I'm just absolutely incensed that we have a lack of common sense in this country and a lack of any diligence by our politicians to stand up for their constituents. They're a bunch of gutless wonders, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a few minutes as I talk about politicians and some right here related to our state. I'm bitter about this, Art. I really am.
I am too, Zeb. Like I say, I wish there was something I could do more.
All right, sir. God bless you for your call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb.
I just do not understand what's wrong with looking out for our country first, looking out for our security, looking out for our economy, looking out for our seniors, our children first. There's nothing wrong with that. This is our country. My gosh. Don't forget the Rupert 4th of July celebration, 89th annual, and the theme this year, Salute Our Troops, and they do a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Don't forget it's going to start on June 30th with the Christmas in July breakfast at 6 a.m. right there at the City Square, and they've got fantastic entertainment every day and all kinds of food booths, and on that first day, June 30th, fireworks display by the Rupert City Fire and Rescue all the way through, where they're going to have horse racing on the 4th of July at the fairgrounds. Great big parade preceding that at 11 o'clock. Oh, my goodness. Everyday fun packed for you and your family. Salute Our Troops. The theme of Rupert's 4th of July celebration, the 89th annual. And congratulations. Be a part of the fun in Rupert. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Are you sitting down?
I usually do during this program.
Because I know you'd need to be sitting down for me to call.
Well, Helen, I want to tell you something, Helen, and I mean this with all sincerity, and this is not meant to be any laughing quotation. I respect your straightforwardness. There's not enough people today that are going to stand up and be straightforward because they've got this fear of not being politically correct, and I respect you for what you say. Go ahead.
Well, the thing about it is, I think this started years ago, subtly teaching the kids, because now our politicians are already programmed into all of this garbage that's going on.
Yeah,
they don't have a mind of their own.
Okay, so what do we do?
Programmed.
What do we do, Helen? We got to turn this thing around. This boat is sailing over Niagara Falls, and we're all going to drown. What do we do to turn it around?
If I had the answer to that, I would be a rich person.
Well, I don't know about the rich, but you'd be considered extremely wise. And something has got to be done in our society to where we restore the respect for this country and all the people that gave their lives for it and get back to the idea that we've got to treat us first.
Right. I agree with you 129%. But I don't know what to do about it.
All right, Helen.
I just can't.
God bless you, my dear, and I mean that. You're a very dear friend. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Calls are welcome. I'm really, really upset about this, especially when I heard that some group in this United States called the Southern Poverty Law Center a bunch of absolute nincompoops. There's other words I wanted to use, but can't on the air. Have put women that here in this United States on a jihad hit list because of their attitude and their verbiage against what's going on with Muslims in this country and ISIS, etc. Oh, my gosh. Brigitte Gabriel, Ann Coulter, Laura Ingraham, and others. What? Oh, my Lord. Straighten up America. This liberal nonsense is killing this country. Mount Harrison Audiology. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call for a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. And I know that lovely lady, Christine Pickup, is listening to the program this morning. Christine, I promise, if you don't hear from me by 11:30 this morning, call me. I have a memory that sometimes fails, and I need to talk to you. So she's a wonderful lady that's helped me with my hearing problems, and and she can help you also. Hearing loss is not normal, and you need to make sure you get it checked out. Call for a hearing screening today at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology. Right now, here's the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
The fight over U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Clean Water Act rule is entering a new phase now that the controversial regulation has been finalized. Opponents of the new rule are expected to galvanize political pressure against it and potentially resort to litigation against the government. Agriculture groups fear that the EPA's new interpretation of the statute will greatly expand its authority over any water and farmland, while the agency contends the rule is necessary to clear up uncertainties about the law's scope. An initial review of the nearly 300-page final rule indicates that the EPA hasn't resolved the industry's main concerns about regulatory overreach, says Dustin Van Loo, Executive Director of Public Lands Council, which represents ranchers who rely on public grazing. For the Capital Press Ag Minute, I am Raul Peña.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
All right, thank you very much. Brought to you by a lovely lady and her business, Mount Harrison Audiology. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology. You had better call for a hearing screening today at 312-0957. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience and indulgence for less than 60 seconds as we listen to the Silver State Stampede. I'll be right back. Thank you very much.
Nevada's oldest rodeo, the Silver State Stampede, thunders into Elko July 9th, 10th, and 11th for family entertainment at its best. This PRCA-sanctioned rodeo brings you the thrill of rodeo riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off on Thursday with the annual kickoff party, including a tri-tip dinner, mutton busting, the Old West bronc riding, and dancing to the music of the Jeff Palmer Band. Things heat up on Friday and Saturday with PRCA rodeo action, the Ring of Fear, mutton busing, and all the fun, music, and dancing you can handle. And don't forget on Saturday, it's tough enough to wear pink. Pick up your tickets today at Roy's, the J.M. Capriola Company, the Boot Barn, IFA, or the Elko Chamber Office. Nevada's oldest rodeo, the Silver State Stampede, thundering into Elko July 9th, 10th, and 11th. Family entertainment at its very best.
All right, thank you very much, caller. Thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Jeb.
Yes, sir.
I've been listening to everybody and reading all this stuff, and our morals is going down to the sewer because of everything that's being brought into here that our country was not founded on, I don't think. When you start taking down American flags and Confederate flag and all that stuff, them flags that people has lived and died for. And now they come in and say we're supposed to knuckle down to the Muslim laws and all that stuff. Horse fucky. Let's follow the Constitution like we're supposed to do and leave these flags and stuff alone, Zeb.
Al, I'm telling you that you know me very well. As a matter of fact, you've known me for the duration of this program that goes back 16, 17 years. And you know that when I'm not funnin', and I'm not funnin' right now, this is a very serious subject with me. I am fed up to the hilt with people that are like sponges, like I said a little bit ago, that will accept without question what's going on. And I'm also fed up, and I would welcome them if they had the guts to come on this program. Literally, walk in my door, sit down at this desk, get on the microphone with me, and debate me about the benefits and the negatives of what's going on in this country. But they don't do it because they haven't got the backbone.
I know. I mean, I listened to Governor Haley. Boy, she was all for this and that old stuff. Well, look who turned tail and says, take the flag down from the offices. That's real nice, ain't it? And Lindsey Graham, another hypocrite, backstabber. I mean, we have to let people like that keep going on, dictating to us what they're going to do. I say let's put a good stop to it, vote them people out of office, and get back to the way it used to be. Fly the flag with pride.
Where is the pride in your convictions, the pride in your personal choice, the pride in your own actions and your own motives? It's gone. These politicians today willow in the wind and go whichever way they're pushed. I'm fed up with them.
That's right. Okie dokie.
All right, Al. God bless you, man. Thanks. You know, No, I'm not going to weaken on this. Some of the absolute and deficit of any mind thinking, some of these people call me after the program and they'll voice their opinions. Well, you did that, you said that. Why don't you call me on the air? Let everybody hear what you have to say instead of sniping at me on my free time with my family. You don't have the courage. I'm going to give you another related story in a few moments. And this one really hit home to me last night when I heard it. And because I know the man. I know the man back in Oklahoma City. And I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. Right now, I want to remind you about the Idaho Regatta. This is a big, big week, and Maverick presents the 40th Annual Idaho Regatta, and it is going to be a lot of fun for you, the whole family, and the area to enjoy boat racing at its best at the Burley Golf Course Marina. And tomorrow it starts with the Show and Shine Fish Fry starting at 6 at the city of Rupert, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday racing. Oh, my goodness, look out. It's going to be ripping good. And a lot of fun for you. Be sure and get your tickets or your weekend pass and enjoy every bit of this great 40th Annual Idaho Regatta, June 26, 27, and 28, this weekend at the Burley Golf Course Marina. Don't miss it. You know, in the news, it's bound to happen to anybody that's in my position as a talk show host. You're going to know someone that has their name in a national story. And last night I was shocked to hear that Bob Berry Jr., I know him. I met both he and his father in Oklahoma City years ago when his dad, Bob Berry, was the sports director for a major TV station in Oklahoma City. And Bob Berry Jr. then replaced his father at that same television station, and with all my going back to Oklahoma for many, many projects, whether it was the American Quarter Horse World Show, whether it was the reining finals, whatever, I had a chance to possibly say hello. We weren't close friends by any means, but had a chance to say, hey, how you doing? How's everything in TV? What's going on? That type of thing. Well, I was sitting there watching TV last night, and Bob Berry Jr. was killed by an illegal alien driver that had no business being in this country and no business driving a vehicle in this country, America. Killed by an illegal alien. I'm not going to parse the words. The illegal alien fits. And it's happened to many other families, many other people before. Run down, while Bob Berry was on his motorcycle, run down by an illegal alien, no driver's license, and when arrested, had cocaine in his billfold. And I am fed up with a lack of law, a lack of respect for the law, and a lack of trying to make sure that America comes first. Not illegal aliens, nor anyone else coming in from a foreign country. This really hit home to me last night. And early this morning I tried to reach Frosty to let him know about this story so that we could converse about it on the air this next week on Tuesday. But it's so sad. It's so sad. You're saying, well, accidents happen. Well, no. Had that illegal alien not been in this country and not behind a wheel and not illegally driving, no, it wouldn't have happened. I just don't understand anymore. What happened to America first? What happened to taking pride in our country? What happened to taking pride in our citizens? What happened to honoring our law and our Constitution? What happened? Call me. Come on, don't just sit there by the phone sipping on a hot chocolate or a cup of coffee. Let me know your thoughts, please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, right behind Dr. Crane's office. And I think that you will agree with me that Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation have one goal in mind, and that's helping you to get back to being you. With all the sports medicine, all the exercises, hydrotherapy, pool with the treadmill, everything to help you get back to being you. Call for an appointment today at 678-1191. 678-1191, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I don't know. I just don't understand why we can't teach our kids, hey, it's America. We're number one and proud of it. You know, I just hope that I don't stand next to or come in contact with any of these knot-headed, absolutely can't see past the tip of their nose lefties. Oh, well, by being number one and acting number one and by having so much pride in our country, why, that might overshadow somebody else and might not make them feel welcome. Who the heck cares? Who the heck cares? This is America, and I am so blessed to live here. I am so blessed for what my forefathers did, including my uncles and my father fighting for this country. I am so blessed, and I am so fortunate to live in this great, great number one country, America. And that's the way I feel, and I'm not going to change it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, and I really do. I appreciate your calls. A lot of people might be a little tentative about speaking out for fear that their neighbors might hear who they are. But for those that had the nerve to call, I really respect you. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, I want to get into green energy here in just a little bit. And this is something else that just makes me want to just scratch and claw the walls. Green energy is stupid. Green energy is a complete waste of money. And green energy is a complete waste of energy. The latest studies show that the major costs of green energy, with no gain from green energy, of wind and solar. For every $5,000, and again, I'm not making this up, why would I? For every $5,000 spent out of our pockets, the American taxpayer, for the idiocy and incompetency of green energy, we only get a return of $2,400. Yep, buddy. We're losing a little bit more than half of our investment per every $5,000 spent. So what does Obama do, the great leader that we have? He's going to stick more and more and more billions, with a B, into green energy. You bet! Stick it in the back of the American taxpayer. It don't work, but that's okay. And we're dumb enough to let him do it? Please. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Mad River Laser. And they're located at 502 East Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-2293. And I just want to tell you that with all the parades and everything coming up, they can do all the promotional products for you to hand out at the parades or throw out to the customers, etc. Oh, they are good at Mad River Laser. All the business promotional items. And by the way, they've also got those buck knives, a great gift for somebody that you can have engraved. And, of course, all your banners, everything at Mad River Laser, right there on the square in Rupert. And here now is the weather.
With your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Gina Jameson. Looking at mostly sunny skies for today. Slightly breezy, really not going to cool us off, though. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. High of 91. Tonight, expect a low near 58. Now for tomorrow, looks like sunny skies. High of 93 with an overnight low of 58. Creeping up to 96 for Friday. And then as we head on into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looks like highs are going to be in the triple digits. So make sure you wear sunscreen and drink plenty of water.
All right.
That's the weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I'm sorry, Gina. I thought that pause meant jump on in, Zeb, but it didn't. I'm sorry. Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-2293. And calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I got to compliment this next story to Rush Limbaugh because, quite frankly, I agree with him. There's some things Rush says, naturally, that I wouldn't agree with, and quite a bit that I do. I pick and choose, and I study the story, and then I study how I'm going to relate to it, as we all should. But you know, he brought up a very interesting point yesterday when he was talking about all the brouhaha over the Confederate flag and how all of a sudden Target and Walmart and everybody, Sears, oh, we got to get rid of the Confederate flag. Wait a minute. Let's use a little common sense here, folks. The Confederate flag did not kill those 9 people at that church in Charleston, South Carolina. A deranged, sick punk did. It wasn't the flag. And all of a sudden, everybody has to come out and cleanse the entirety of the problem. It wasn't the people in South Carolina. It wasn't the citizens of South Carolina. It wasn't the state of South Carolina that created this problem. It was one spoiled punk with a gun that walked into a church and took the lives of 9 wonderful Christians. It wasn't the state. It wasn't a flag. It was one punk. And now everyone is penalized. All of their history is penalized over one punk. And the point that Limbaugh was getting at is that are we going to all of a sudden in every problem run and grab every item that might be associated with that problem to the minute degree and dig a big hole and throw them in and cover it up so that they're gone, they're out of sight, no more problems? It doesn't work that way. And he went on to say that it might even happen with the United States flag of America. Yeah, the red, white, and blue. Now think about it, and you laugh and snicker and say, come on, Zeb, you're just as wacky as Limbaugh. Never going to happen here in this country. Whoa, wait a minute, back up the bus, Gus. Open the doors, let everybody off on the curb. It's already started. People have come out at colleges and universities from California all the way to New York and have said, oh, well, I don't think we should fly the flag because I think it shows that we're just kind of, we're trying to prove that we're better than others. And, oh, well, we've had so many faults in our history. By flying that flag, it might offend somebody. I don't think it's coming. Flying our United States flag might be the next attack by the liberal left to just inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, tear apart the fabric of what America stands for. And I, for one, think that the First Amendment is threatened right now more severely than ever because of that flag flap, it's hard to say, in South Carolina. And it's going to get worse. Are we going to kowtow to every single group, every single person that says, well, I know that this crime was committed, but it was because of this and that material or that object or whatever, so we better take all those objects and all that material, like I said a moment ago, dig a big hole and throw them in, out of sight, out of mind, never happen again. Ay, 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 ay. and it could happen with the American flag. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your calls that I really would appreciate, I want to remind you about somebody else I really appreciate, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And, of course, with a free pre-trip safety check on your vehicle, visual inspection of the wheel alignment to check for tire wear, visual inspection of the brake components, visual inspection of shocks and struts. Hey, take advantage of this and stop in at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget, they've always got the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this, and of course, all the tires that you need for safe driving. Yep, stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. I respect your call. Thank you.
Yeah, this might sound a little corny, but and I never really was much of a fan of the Dukes and Hazzard, but what are they going to do? Are they going to quit? Because they're still running them replays to this day, and they're doing advertisements on TV about them, and I don't know. It's such an overreaction, and it has nothing to do with what really matters. But this is what we allow the left to do. Take our eye off of what really is happening, and we're totally distracted by something that means nothing. And we take our eye off the ball, and if the pitch is off, where it hits us right in the head. And that's what is happening. We're getting soaked. And but what's new? The American people are so forgiving and forgive and forget. Well, I'll tell you what, Zeb, we can't forget. We can forgive, but we can't forget.
Well, wait a minute. And I think that's where I'm at today. I'm very upset, and I don't make any bones about it. My feelings are being worn on my sleeve this morning because of what happened to a gentleman that I knew and had a lot of respect for, and that's Bob Berry Jr. back in Oklahoma City. I mean, killed by an illegal alien that shouldn't have been here, shouldn't have been behind the wheel, no driver's license, shouldn't have been here. And when are we going to start thinking about us first and start the laws that have to be in obeyance for our country and our security? I'm fed up with this garbage of political correctness and, we'll just bend it and let everybody do whatever. I'm fed up with it, Randy.
Well, see, we keep thinking that this thing's going to break, but the resiliency of the American people, the industriousness of them is what saves us time and time and time again. And the good-heartedness of these people. And but you see, you wonder how long it can survive.
Yeah.
And you say to yourself, and should the people of America, the good, caring people who hard-working, have to worry about having their rights attacked, and these things are coming at us, and we deserve none of this, none of it.
Well,
and go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, all these stories that I talked about this morning about the refugees coming in, we really don't know anything about them. The illegal aliens, the Southern Poverty Law Center forming a jihad hit list, and, of course, green energy, the stupidity of it. For every $5,000 that we spend, we only get a $2,400 return. My gosh, when are we going to wake up and say, hey, Mr. Politician, Mr. President, when are you going to stop this doggone boat from going over Niagara Falls? And if not, we're going to throw you bums out of office.
Well, it's just like you talk to your politicians in this trade thing. Anything Obama's for, I know can't be good. And when the Republicans from Idaho are for it, I have just beat the hell out of those poor people back there in D.C. that work for Risch and Crapo. And I got a letter from Risch, and it was a damn insult. And, anybody would have been insulted, not just me. But you see, you say to yourself, it don't matter to them as long as they know they're going to get reelected. You just feel like you feel forsaken. You say, you know what? We're the people of America, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. You sorry, you know what? And you have just forgotten what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. I am not advocating any person for president right now on the GOP ticket. Nope, not going to do it because I'm still looking. I'm still trying to understand. I'm still trying to see which one is absolutely going to adhere to the values that this country stands for. But I want to say this. A lot of people laughed, and I got a lot of emails, and boy, I got scorned because of what I said about Donald Trump a week ago. But right now, just look at the New Hampshire poll as of this morning. Donald Trump from out of nowhere is right behind Jeb Bush and way ahead of Walker and Rubio because people were polled on the street and they said, hey, it's time for a straight shooter. It's time for somebody that's concerned about America, and it's time for somebody that's going to bring jobs back to this country. Randy, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. And when Trump said these things, it opens the dialogue up, and then the rest of them have to respond to it. And, it's going to be an interesting run to see who ends up as the nominee from the Republican Party. But
yeah, but you can't say the same on the Democratic side because Hillary. Waste of time, Hillary.
You got Bernie Sanders, the mad scientist.
Yeah.
My dad had a name for women that were really just terrible.
Easy. Don't get me in trouble. Let's not go there. I got to run to the news, Randy. That's far enough.
He called them gas bags. Okay, see you.
Thanks a lot, Randy. I got to run to the news. I'm telling you, folks, this is a very concerning time. We've got to turn things around. Calls are welcome in about 6 minutes. I'll be back. Wheels, take it to the news. Oh my, here we go, hour number 2 on Zeb at the Ranch for a Wednesday morning, June 24th, and again, June Dairy Month. Thank you very much, United Dairymen of Idaho, for all you do. Thank you also to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All the Les Schwab Tire Centers, we thank very much right here in this area for all their great service, along with some of our great advertisers, Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley-Wide Home and Ranch. And our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and the free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Hey, there's a lot of activity going on this summer, whether it's going to be a picnic, a family reunion, class reunion, whatever it might be. You're going to meet out here at this park or over here. Oh, did anybody order the porta potties? No. Well, you better get it done. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Call Western Waste Services right now. Always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Locally owned and operated and serving you, Western Waste Services. You give them a call today. By the way, every day on the program, we start things off at 8:06 with a weather forecast brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. The number to call is 678-6945. And Kyle and Whitney, and I think Kyle's going to be on the program tomorrow. Yep, Whitney threatened him with a broom if he didn't come on the program and talk to us. Look for the blue door. Really good, folks. Whatever you need to make your house a home. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Really good, folks. And again, talking about good folks, and I really absolutely implore you to write this number down and keep it where it's accessible, because when there's the passing of a loved one, Hanson Mortuary is there to serve you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Joel Heward, his family, staff at 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. And it's a very difficult time during the passing of a loved one, and your expectations of service, they want to meet and exceed in helping you and your family. Hanson Mortuary, 436-5636. It's Wednesday, and I don't know if he heard the first hour of our program or not, but hopefully this gentleman, that's a very good friend of mine, can kind of cool me down a little bit and get me back into a more stable temperature. Good morning, Dave Beagle. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. I'm here. You're not feeling well.
Oh, no. I'm feeling fine. It's just that I got to tell you, I am so upset with a lack of leadership, a lack of caring, and a lack of respect for this country that we still can't maintain our number one attitude, because that might offend somebody. And Dave, I want to hear your response to this. I am absolutely adamant that whoever runs for President of the United States, darn sure, to make sure my language is acceptable, better start putting America first.
Well, that's absolutely what we have to do, Zeb. You and I have talked about that, and the problem with politics anymore, it's not about America. It's all about getting reelected, and we got to do something about our political system where people go there to serve America and do the right things, not to make a career out of it.
How do we do that, though, Dave? And I'm not trying to put you down on a little spot and have you adhere to that, but how do we go about doing that? I mean, we've let this problem get so out of hand. I don't care if it's people from Idaho or people from Indiana. What do we do?
Somebody elected, Zeb, that understands that, and when they get in office, they start doing things like term limits and other things, and reach of government. And so we really need somebody like a Scott Walker or somebody like that.
Now, you mentioned Scott Walker, and I've got to revert back to what our conversation was last week. It was the day after, I believe it was, that Donald Trump had thrown his hat in the ring to be president, nomination for president. And the latest New Hampshire poll shows that Donald Trump is in second place, right behind Jeb Bush, and ahead of Walker and Rubio. What are your thoughts on this as far as Donald Trump is concerned?
Well, Zeb, as I've mentioned before, I think we got a long way to go before, and until getting into the fall, I don't think we're going to see, a lot of this is just rhetoric and, stuff that we can't really hang a hat on. And I think we're going to find out more as these people really start moving forward on this stuff, and we see the true fallout from what they've got to say and what their intent is. And right now, I think it's, like I say, it's a little early.
Okay. Now, Dave, I mentioned earlier this morning on the first hour that a friend of mine, and he wasn't a close friend, we were acquaintances, we said hello to each other on occasion when I was back in Oklahoma City. He was a sportscaster for a major TV station in Oklahoma City, following in his dad's footsteps, and that's Bob Berry Jr., was killed by an illegal alien in an auto accident that didn't have a driver's license, shouldn't have been here, and had cocaine in his billfold, and a life was snuffed out, a very important life that was an asset to the community by an illegal alien. What are your thoughts about this mess with illegal aliens allowed in this country?
Well, we've discussed this before, Zeb, and I'm a firm believer we got to close the borders and secure them with our armed forces. For a lot of reasons. Things like this is just as incredible. And, I was watching Fox last night, and one of the attorneys said, well, he thinks the guy will get off because it really wasn't intentional. Well, wait a minute. He's illegal. He's got cocaine on him and all that. And he killed somebody by turning from the second lane to do a U-turn. And, but, you have these things going on across the country. And on top of that, what else is coming across that border that we don't know about? And on top of it, these people are coming across and taking jobs behind the scenes, being paid under the table, that are taking away American jobs and reducing wages across this country. And we're letting this president get away with it. And as I've talked before, I think it's all part of a plan to bring down the American economy.
What is there about illegal that our politicians don't seem to understand? What is there about illegal that our laws, our court system don't seem to understand? I mean, my goodness, am I so naive that I can't understand right and wrong and what needs to be done about it?
Well, that you is said about me, you don't really care about people. You don't understand social justice. And, we've got to treat everybody nice and do the same thing. Well, that's not the case. We got to take care of our country first and our people here. And we're a nation of laws, and we got to stick to our laws. And if those people can enter our country legally and abide by our laws, great. If they can't, then they need to work in the country they're at to improve that country. And that's the path we need to take. And on top of that, it's time that politicians woke up and understood that they can still get the Hispanic vote, because a lot of the Hispanics that are in this country illegally don't want to see the illegals come in because they know it harms this country and it harms them and their wages.
Yeah, right there. Amen for what you just said, because it's high time that we had some politician. We had someone that wants to serve the public. We had someone that wants to serve the laws and treat their constituents like they really matter and stand up for something. This might sound a little trite, but I absolutely would like to see a John Wayne type stand up and say, I don't care what you want to do, we're going to do it according to the United States law.
Well, Zeb, I'm right behind you, and that's what I'm looking for too. And I'm hoping out of this group somebody stands up and becomes that person.
Dave, you're a businessman, and I have so much respect for your books and what you've done to explain the trials and tribulations with the SEIU union and government waste and everything. You must have been absolutely livid like I was when this latest study came out about green energy, the waste of money, and quite frankly, the waste of energy, when they figured out the cost of every $5,000 spent on green energy. We, the American public, only get back $2,400. Boy, that's a great investment, isn't it? And
I've been through this. I was naive to all this before the union attacked me. And I know this is hard for people to believe, but when the SEIU attacked me and they got brought in the political scene on it, and I got to see behind the scenes what's going on and what these people are all about, it isn't about Americans. It isn't about America. It's not about the employees that they say they want to unionize and represent and take care of. It's not about social justice. It's all about them and control, because they think they don't know how to function in a capitalistic society, free market society, and they want to change it to socialism and take over and control us. And that's what it's all about. And I've seen it behind the scenes, and they'll use any misinformation, lies, rhetoric, anything they can, whether it's on social justice or on the environment.
And did we lose him? Wheels, what's going on over there?
I think he might just be cutting out because it still says he's on the line.
Well, he's not.
I'm here.
Okay, we're having trouble. Dave, I don't know. We'll talk about this after the program. But I'm almost convinced it might be a phone line or a cord or something that's cutting out. But I wish you'd repeat that, because I want to hear that remark again about what you were just saying with our lack of respect for this country. Go ahead.
Well, what I was saying, Zeb, is that, I was naive to the whole thing that's going on politically in this country until the SEIU attacked me, and they used politicians against me, and they brought in their whole system of control and that, and I found out that they'll use any method they can, whether it's on social justice, taking care of people and unionizing people, or whether it's on the environment and green energy and that. They'll use any rhetoric and lies they can to justify their position and justify their political position, because ultimately they think they're smarter than we are, and they want to turn this into a society control.
What about the SEIU? I wanted to get into that too with you a little bit this morning in the time remaining. They've been relatively quiet lately. Unions in general have been relatively quiet lately. Why? What's brewing behind the scenes that we, the American consumer, and people that are out in front of the public like we are in the media, what are we not hearing about these folks?
Oh, they're still pretty active, Zeb. In fact, the SEIU last week were celebrating their beginning of their Janitors for Justice that started back in the 90s, and they were having, rallies across the country on that really didn't get reported too much. All of them are behind the scenes and there's been many more, hundreds more petitions for elections than ever before since this new ambush election law went in mid-April. And they're betting on the fact that they're going to force unionized people through this. So they're kind of keeping quiet, and they're going after companies, and not just big companies. They're going after companies that have, 5 to 10 people.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you this morning before we run out of time this morning, and I apologize to my audience. Evidently, we have no idea why the phone cuts out on occasion, and it seems like it only happens with my dear friend Dave Vigo. I apologize for that. But Dave, give me your thoughts about the flag flap that's going on now in South Carolina. It wasn't the citizens, it wasn't the flag, it wasn't the state, it was one punk, one worthless punk that picked up a gun and shot 9 innocent people in church. But now everything that relates to that state has to be hidden or buried or stuck in a museum, and they have to not put up anything of their past or their heritage. What are your thoughts about what's going on in South Carolina?
Zeb, it's crazy overreaction, and it's all political moves, and I'm so tired of all the political moves by people instead of just doing the right things. And the truth is, this young guy, he had a history of problems in that, and we got to get families to start stepping up and reporting problems with kids and people like this, so that they're taken care of before they commit, terrible crimes like this. You just have to feel so bad for these families that lost these people. But, it happens across the country every day. You have people go out like this. I won't be only shooting one person, but the family knew that the person had a mental problem or a drinking problem or a drug problem, and they never got the person help or reported it.
Yeah, in a related story to the flag, Dave, and I really appreciate and I commend you on your remarks, but the Southern Poverty Law Center, how do they get away with this kind of garbage? They have created a jihad hit list, and they have put on that list women that have spoke out against the Muslims, spoke out against ISIS, spoke out against the refugees coming in, Brigitte Gabriel, Ann Coulter, Laura Ingraham, just to mention a few. But they put out a jihad hit list. How did they get away with this garbage?
Well, Zeb, all I can say, and you probably won't like this, America guarantees freedom of speech, so they can come out and say what they want. It's just too bad we have people like this, and it's even worse that we have people that get behind people like this, because it's just wrong. And but we've always been a country of free speech, and unfortunately, some of this stuff.
I agree with you and your comments. And while I have just a minute here or so, Dave, I'd like to ask you this. The devil at my doorstep, the devil at our doorstep, any more books on the horizon, speaking tours, etc., movies? What else is going on in your life?
We're just so busy right now. I don't know that we have anything set up right now as far as more books. I've always being asked to speak at places. I spoke in downtown Indianapolis last week to help a group of companies that are having the unions, and these are contractors, construction contractors that the trade unions are after. So I'm always available for people. And I got to tell you one thing today. I wrote a blog about it was late October of 2013, about how I ended up being in the business, and it happened because my college coach who recruited me left after a year, and they brought in another guy that was so bad I left, and it changed my whole from a teacher to going to medical school, and didn't get into that, and to find the coach that I left because of the second coach, his job before coming the head basketball coach at Wabash College, he was a janitor. And so a janitor changed my whole life, Zeb, to be in the janitorial business and do all these things and grow these businesses and fight the biggest union in the country. Well, believe it or not, the original coach that then left after a year, and which prompted this guy to come in that was bad and made me transfer schools. My original college basketball coach is going to be in my office here in about a half hour today.
Oh, my.
Unbelievable.
I absolutely wished I could be there and sit down with both of you and kind of be the quiet third party that would enjoy the conversation. Dave, God bless you and thank you, and I'll be calling you after the program sometime today, and we'll figure out why the cutouts, but thank you for all your remarks this morning. You always do a wonderful job. One of my favorite people, Dave Beagle, back in Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you, sir. God bless.
Thank you. You have a great day.
All right, sir. To my audience, I say I'm sorry, but I don't know why we're having that cutout problem with that phone line back to Indianapolis, Indiana. I don't know. I don't think we've noticed it on other calls, and I don't know if it's something that happens at his office with a possible beeping in of other lines and then cutting off the call. I don't know, but I'll check it out, and I'll talk to our engineer Jerry and see what he thinks about the situation. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Idaho Cattle Association celebrating 100 years. 100 years of the real cowboys, and they're having their annual cattle industry convention and, of course, all the trade show that goes with it, and that's going to be at the Riverside Hotel in Boise, July 14th through the 18th, and it is going to be fun. It's going to be informative. It's going to be something that you don't want to miss. So if you haven't heard about it, you better check it out. Just call the Idaho Cattle Association and find out more information, and they'll help you become a member and a part of the annual Cattle and Trade Show Industry Convention, July 14th through the 18th at the Riverside Hotel in Boise. And we're going to be talking to Wyatt Prescott, and I'm really looking forward to that conversation in a few moments. Wyatt is the Executive Vice President of the Idaho Cattle Association, and this shows how old I am. I knew him when he was just a little bitty baby, and he's turned into a very, very sharp young man and helping lead the Idaho Cattle Association into the future. Congratulations to him. We'll have more in just a moment, but right now I also want to remind you about everything that's going on over at the Rupert 4th of July. My goodness, salute our troops. That's this year's theme of the Rupert 4th of July celebration, the 89th annual celebration, June 30th through July 4th. Don't miss, and I want to highlight this right now, the great big 4th of July parade at 11 o'clock through Rupert on the 4th of July. Wow. That's the best way to describe the Rupert 4th of July parade. One simple three-letter word, wow. It gets bigger and better and more fun every year. Don't miss it. And all the food booths and the carnival and all the entertainment, everything going on for you, your family, everybody at Rupert's 4th of July celebration for the theme, Salute Our Troops. Don't miss the fun. Okay? Had Roberta Christensen on the program with us yesterday. What a nice lady, and I really appreciate all her remarks. By the way, before we get Wyatt on the air this morning, I want to remind you, too, about Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, where the fun is sold. Wow. All the watercraft. You know, now, this is a great ad, very timely ad, because they've got all the new watercraft for you to hit the water, the lakes, the rivers, the puddles, whatever, I'm telling you. And they've got new watercraft in there. You better stop in and see the selection and have fun outside this summer. Now, there are those of us that would rather maybe go on up in the hills with a brand new ATV 4x4. A new ATV 4x4, and they've got a super selection over there. You open that front door at Let's Ride, just stop and turn your head left to right, right to left, down the middle. Holy cow, they've got everything. All the accessories, too, and a great service department. They know what they're doing. At Let's Ride, Highway 24, between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Really good folks. Oh, and really good folks also heads up the list about talking about our dear friends with Cameron and Siemens Insurance. That's right, Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They've got it all. They understand it all, and they can help all of that with your situation. So please call for an appointment today at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Hey, Wheels, let's find out more about the Silver State Stampede.
Follow the crowd to family entertainment at its best. The 2015 Silver State Stampede thunders into Elko July 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Elko Fairgrounds. Kicking off this weekend of rodeo action on Thursday, July 9th is the annual Stampede Kickoff Party, featuring a $10 tri-tip dinner, followed by the Old West Calcutta, Old West Bronc Riding, the Western Trade Show, and ending the night with live music and dancing to the sounds of the Jeff Palmer Band. The fun continues on Friday and Saturday with a full roster of PRCA rodeo action, followed by the always popular Ring of Fear, and more live music and dancing. You can get your tickets today at Roy's, the J.M. Capriola Company, the Boot Barn, IFA, or the Elko Chamber of Commerce. For more information, check online at www.silverstatestampede.com or call 777-934-6502. Follow the crowd to the 2015 Silver State Stampede, July 9th, 10th, and 11th. Family entertainment at its very best.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be there again, announcing that Silver State Stampede in Elko. Man, that's where the buckaroo life is alive and well. Good morning, everybody. Hey, let's go to the phone lines right now and say good morning to, like I said a few moments ago, a super young man that has done so much as Executive Vice President for the Idaho Cattle Association, Wyatt Prescott. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great. Good morning, Zeb. How are you doing?
Well, it's been a long time since I've had you on the program. You shouldn't make yourself a stranger.
Yeah.
Now, what is going on with the Idaho Cattle Association and their great big celebration of 100 years? Man, this is quite a tribute to a great association.
Yeah, absolutely. This July 14th through the 18th, we're celebrating our 100-year anniversary of actually the association. Cattlemen have been meeting longer than that, but it's been 100 years since we were incorporated and established with the sole mission to help to protect and promote the state's cattle industry.
Wyatt, what is there about this 100-year convention and trade show that would want to make people that maybe aren't members, maybe raise a few head of cattle, or maybe they've got a whole great big herd, what would make them want to attend and also become members?
Well, I'll tell you this much, and I hear it time and time again from folks that recently joined. All it takes is to attend one event, one convention, and you would be hooked on being a part of the process and being a part of the association. It's your industry, and right, wrong, or indifferent, we're the entity that goes out and shapes the policy and rules in the state of Idaho in which you have to play by. So we want to get every cattle producer engaged and involved in lending their voice to what their opinions are and how to handle these issues. and to help shape the future, your future, and their destiny. So I would say if you had one thing to attend that would impress you as much as anything is the opening session on Wednesday, July 15th. That entire day is just jam-packed with excellent programming, keynote speakers. Governor Otter will be there and making a state proclamation and declaring that day a Cowboy Day, where we've got Tom Brink, an economist, talking about the future of the industry and what we can expect in these next 6 to 12 months, because that's what the entire industry is waiting on, anticipating. And then from there, we start having a little more fun as we go down and we join in with the rest of Boise's downtown and try and mingle a little bit with Urbanizing Society, who is actually our customer and our consumer. And we have live bands, a series of bands coming in. We have Idaho Preferred chefs cooking nothing but beef. And we're actually debuting a microbrew for Idaho Cattle Centennial Celebration called Idaho Cattle Buckaroo Blonde that evening.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, that's a quick synopsis, but now the main headquarters will be the Riverside Hotel in Boise. But it sounds to me like there's a lot of locations, and people should be really aware of where the convention is going to be highlighted at different locations around the city of Boise, correct?
Absolutely. And, you know, and part of our thought process in hosting our 100-year anniversary in Boise and hosting these programs around Boise is too often as an industry, we like talking to our friends. I like talking to you because you're friendly, you know, and we don't do a good enough job of talking to the folks in the city and kind of in urban America. Simple Snapple math. 1 in 30 Americans lives in New York City, and that's just one city. We got to do a better job of talking to those folks. So that's why we're hosting it in Boise, and we're spreading our events kind of throughout the city and doing different functions and events with the town.
What is, in your opinion, and I know your mom and dad and your family, I've known them for years, and what do you think is the number one problem that the cattle industry has to address and try to maintain control over?
Identifying that number one problem. I think the root of all problems it's a matter of perspective with our population right now, and it goes back to that old adage, a hungry man has one problem, and a well-fed man has many problems. And quite frankly, people are just come to food way too easy to really have an appreciation for how it's produced. So our underlying problem in the industry is folks are getting further and further removed from how that product is produced and what goes into it. And that makes it easier and easier for them to make these knee-jerk, emotionally driven decisions to do crazy things like try out a vegan diet or say we shouldn't graze cattle on public lands, or the list goes on and on and on. And my point goes back to how many people are urbanizing in our country. Well, those people oftentimes think that steak is made behind the grocery store counter. And then those people are getting elected into office, and they're sent to Washington, D.C., and they're making the decisions that drives how we produce their food. And they've just came so easy by food, they just haven't had to understand what it takes to produce it. So everything we can do as an industry in articulating that message, being a part of offering that information to the consumer, but also being involved in the political process to help those folks understand the true details of what we're doing out there on the landscape, the better off the industry will be.
What about the outreach programs? What about talking to the kids? What about going to the schools? What about the American consumer, the housewives? Is the outreach program to try to tell them, train them, and teach them, is it being effective?
I absolutely think it is. When we look at where our markets are today, I think anybody would have a hard time arguing that we are failing. Of course, that arena is more in the Beef Council arena, and we don't market to the consumers. Obviously, we're all politics and litigation, but it all goes hand in hand. So that effective messaging on that side obviously trickles down to us, and I would say it's effective because they're investing a lot of their money, the majority of that money, in urban societies, the urban setting. Again, 1 in 30 Americans in New York City alone. They're also investing a lot of that in our export markets. And it can be aggravating because we hear so much. The radical against is so much more vocal than the normal for. And it's really a small population that's against us, but they're just a lot more boisterous.
Yeah. I read the article that you had called Let's Stick Together, and I thought you made a very valid point. I mean, I'll go back to what I said a moment ago. Maybe somebody that's got 2 or 3 head of rope and steers, or maybe somebody that's got a whole herd. If we all stuck together and all had a unified voice, we'd have a lot more power. I agree with you. Expand on that just a little bit.
Well, absolutely. There's strength in numbers. Hey, in our industry, the most pride-driven there is. Everybody is so independent because they have pretty much everybody that's still in the industry has had to start over once or twice in their lives and started from nothing and grew it on their own accord. They don't need anybody else to help them get ahead. But if we stick together, we stand a lot better chance at influencing decisions and policy. And 99% of the issues the entire industry can agree on, and only 1% we disagree on. I say leave that 1% aside, and let's tackle the 99% of the issues that we agree on and all stand together.
Whenever you hear the moo of a cow on my program, it means we've got a telephone call. Caller, go ahead, please, with your question for Wyatt Prescott.
Hey, Wyatt, the other day I was in Pocatello, and this guy was opening the door to the convenience store for me, and I looked up and I thought, well, there's Roy, and I hadn't seen him for years. It was good to see him. Hey, do you have an opinion about this trade deal, the Pacific Partnership deal, or... and I'll hang up.
I think that's a good question. What is the stand right now and the thought on the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement that is right now kind of in limbo, and some people are definitely for it and many others against it? What are your thoughts?
Well, we feel as though the TPP, now obviously there's a lot of moving parts and everything, but specific to the beef industry, it's an opportunity to open up an Asian market that we don't have full access to. The fact of the matter is our exports right now are driven off of Asian markets, and we've got to try and put more beef at the table there, and the TPP could be a tool to enable that.
Wyatt, you would agree with me, though, that I think in regards to this trade agreement or any other trade agreement, they shouldn't be, they being the government, so clandestine and secretive, and it would be nice for all of us to be able to know really what we're getting involved in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And every trade agreement, there's give and take on both sides of it. And as a citizen, we should have the right to know exactly what that is. And the fact of the matter is personally, I'm going to disagree with some of the elements that we're giving, that our country's giving on that. But as an industry, we're going to benefit from what we're getting if we get beef into China, so to say. And so you kind of have to look at it through two lenses. But in terms of what it does for the beef cattle industry, it opens up a lot of opportunities to market our product.
Now, I wanted to ask you, too, more specifics about the industry convention and the trade show. What does the trade show entail, and what are you trying to provide to the American consumer and anybody else that goes to the convention? What are they going to see at that trade show?
Well, that trade show has been full for some time now. We have vendors just wanting to get in there. And it's an industry trade show, so it's the latest technology and operational equipment for your operation and for the industry. So the trade show is really geared up towards cattle producers, everything from genetics to silencer squeeze chutes to Chevy trucks, and on and on and on, and heavy equipment.
Now, what
that's really what the trade show revolves around. It's an opportunity for cattle producers to make some connections and learn a few new technologies that are out there.
All right. Now, let's go down again day by day. You mentioned about the opening and everything, but I also wanted to mention some of the other fun events. What about the Boise Bolo Tie Blowout? What is going on? That's going to be at Julia Davis Park, is it not?
Yeah, so that's capping off that Wednesday. So it's Wednesday evening, and it's a party that we're throwing for the industry to come to, but also the city of Boise, all of the city of Boise, and it's our opportunity as an industry to maybe get to know a little bit more about that urban consumer and meet with them, for them to party with them, so to speak. We have multiple bands coming in and playing. Idaho preferred chefs serving nothing but beef, and that's again where we're unveiling our Payette Brewing Centennial Custom Cattle Ale, Buckaroo Blonde.
And you will, of course, if I can't make it up there, save me a bottle of that adult beverage, will you not?
That's right, absolutely. And that's free to the public, too.
Okay. Now, Thursday is a day that I wished I could get up there and be a part of the Graze It, Don't Blaze It Rangeland Tour. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, every year we do a range tour in different parts of the state, and this year, marking our 100-year anniversary, I think it's especially important where we're going to highlight and feature grazing as a tool to reduce wildfire threat and catastrophic wildfire threat. And our philosophy is, hey, graze it, don't blaze it. We can get out there with more cattle, more utilization of that fine fuel. We can produce pounds of beef with that, but we can also reduce the threat and risk of catastrophic wildfire by doing so. And so that tour is going to revolve around. We're going to go to NIFC, the fire center, on the main command and control of how the agencies fight wildfire and orchestrate that. So we, as an industry, can learn a little more about that. But then we're going out to the range and we're learning a little bit about green stripping and fire breaks that way, but also having conversations with agency folks about, hey, let's increase utilization where these fuels are built up. We can go out there and graze it, so we don't have to let it all be burnt up and wasted. We can put beef on the table instead of putting smoke in the air.
There you go. And we have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller, quickly, please. Thank you.
Hey, Wyatt. Last week, Brittany was on, communications director for Cattlemen's Association. We kind of touched on how they're getting the word out about the watersheds and stuff. But I know you're right on the front lines on that fight, and you're on the floor dealing with it. How is that going? How's the progress of that coming?
Okay, Wyatt, go ahead and respond to that if you would, please.
I'm sorry, Zeb, I didn't hear any of the questions.
Oh, evidently, wheels over at the station. You got to turn that up on that three-way. And the caller was asking about how the fight with the Watersheds Project is going. And Brittany touched on it a little bit last week. Would you bring us up to speed on any more information?
Absolutely. So, plain and simple, Western Watersheds obviously has one agenda, and that's to get cattle off the landscape, which is very detrimental to the resource. So it's not about preserving the watersheds, or it's not about the ecological condition of the rangeland. It's simply about an agenda and raising money for that organization. We've never been bashful about that. Unfortunately, over in Owyhee County, the BLM's taken that threat a little bit too seriously, and they renewed permits over there and cut utilization of grazing by 50%. And they were very public with the reason why, being so they stay out of courtroom with Western Watersheds. So we have had to sue them. We've taken it upon ourselves to make sure that that isn't the precedent set west-wide. And we've pushed that back. We had a very favorable decision on the first half of Group 1, which the court sent it back to the BLM, told them to do it over again, and they did, and there wasn't a lot of changes, so we're still in the courtroom with that, and we'll appeal that up to a higher court, and then a higher court from there. And we're committed in staying in this fight for as long as it takes to make sure that the agency doesn't take it upon themselves to make management decisions based on the courtroom or the threat of litigation, but they make the management decisions based on what the resource can handle.
All right, Wyatt, now I want to get back to the convention just a little bit in the time we have remaining, and I don't want to eliminate the ladies, the cowbells. There's a lot of things for the gals to do during this convention.
Yeah, absolutely. They're on Thursday. They're having a lunch called Beauties and the Beef, and it happens to be a Western fashion show lunch. And then from there, they're going to load up and head out on a ladies traveling happy hour through the downtown Boise, where they'll be visiting various vendors and shops, and of course establishments where they can enjoy a happy hour festivities.
Wyatt, one thing that caught my eye more so than any other was on Saturday, the Centennial Cattle Drive, and I understand that that's going to be right through Boise and headed up by the governor, Butch Otter. Are you ready to yell Stampede?
Yeah, boy, that's going to be quite an event. The city is very excited about it. We are driving cattle right down Chinton Boulevard from the riverside all the way to LeBois Park, the racetrack down there. And led by the governor and Idaho Cattle Association past presidents, the public's coming out in full force. And we're just want to let the city know that we've been here 100 years. We'll be here 100 years to come.
Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your being on the program. And let's reiterate that the Idaho Cattle Association Industry Convention and Trade Show with the theme Feeding the Future, 100-year celebration. Wyatt, tell us the dates. Tell us where they can get reservations. Kind of wrap it up for us, if you would, please.
Yeah, absolutely. July 14th through the 18th. Any programming or reservations, any curiosity you might have, visit www.idahocattle.org. There is agendas on there, registrations, hotel information, you name it. So it's idahocattle.org.
All right. Well, I want to tell you how much I, again, thank you for coming on the program. Executive Vice President of the Idaho Cattle Association, Wyatt Prescott. Boy, I've enjoyed it, Wyatt. Let's do it again real soon. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thanks, Zeb.
All right, take care. Thank you. Very, very nice young gentleman right there, Wyatt Prescott with the Idaho Cattle Association and their great big 100-year convention and trade show coming up on July 14th through the 18th up in Boise. Don't you miss it. Going to be good. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's time now for the weather, actually past time for the weather, brought to you by Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Great place to eat. Delicious meals and fantabulous entertainment. You'd better believe it. And this week, Duck Ugly wants to invite you and everybody, including the Idaho Regatta. All the folks that are coming in, come on over to Duck Uglies. Friday night, they're going to have a rib eye special with 4 shrimp and baked potato and Texas toast, only $20.95. Oh, it's going to be good. And by the way, on Saturday night, Omar's back in town and will be cooking his delicious mouth-watering ribs. Going to be absolutely fantastic at Duck Uglies in Burley. And right now, here's the weather.
With your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Gina Jameson. Looking at mostly sunny skies for today. Slightly breezy, really not going to cool us off, though. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. High of 91. Tonight, expect a low near 58. Now for tomorrow, looks like sunny skies. High of 93 with an overnight low of 58. Creeping up to 96 for Friday. And then as we head on into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looks like highs are going to be in the triple digits. So make sure you wear sunscreen and drink plenty of water.
All right,
That's
Gina.
That's the weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I did it again. I'm sorry. Hey, the weather forecast brought to you by Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Great meals and fantastic entertainment at Duck Uglies. Coming up next hour, I'm really looking forward to a husband and wife team, and they are a team, just like Deanne and I are a team. And we're going to be visiting with Ben and Lacey Thompson, and a very, very, very special husband and wife team, and you'll see why as we talk about physical challenges, overcoming them, and leading a life that, man, exceeds all the special thoughts and prayers that you could ask for. They've done a fantastic job, and we're going to have them live here in the studio in just a couple of minutes, so you stay tuned for that. For those of you that are climate warming deniers like I am, it might be very comforting for you to know that EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy told an audience yesterday on Tuesday that was gathered at the White House conference that normal people, not climate deniers, will win the debate on global warming. McCarthy remarked how normal people and not skeptics would eventually win the global warming debate, and implicit in her remarks is the contention that skeptics are somehow not normal people. Isn't that interesting? I guess now I'm not normal, according to the government and EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy. And she said, but in any democracy, it's not them that carries the day. It is normal human beings that haven't put their stake into politics above science. It's normal human beings that want us to do the right thing, and we will if you help us. I don't know about you, but I was so offended when I heard this story. I am personally, even though she may never read it, even though it might never be held in her fingers, I am going to send Gina McCarthy, the EPA administrator, a nice little note. From me, a normal citizen that doesn't agree with all the hogwash and the ballyhoo that the government tries to ram down our throats. And I certainly don't like someone the likes of Gina McCarthy insinuating and intimating that I and you that agree with me are not normal. Why, we're abnormal. Why, we have to be kind of put off in a corner someplace. Doesn't that offend you? It certainly does me. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A lot of the Rupert merchants are really behind their great big celebration for this year, and I'd like to name some of those if I could. Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert, just off the square. They've got all your flooring needs, all the carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate tile, everything, and go see their extended showroom at Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert. Along with Haskin Insurance Service at 629 Fremont Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4141. And these are really nice folks. Mike and Dustin and Dawn and Terry, always there to help serve you with the best insurance on your home, auto, farm, life, or health. Over 50 years combined experience at Haskin Insurance Service. And, of course, Doc's Pizza, 514 6th Street in Rupert. Oh, my. What a terrific pizza shop. And the cinnamon sticks are absolutely delicious. And they have all you can eat Mondays and Thursdays for only $8. Pizza, salad, breadsticks, and a drink. Woo! Boy, I'll tell you, that is a fun place to go. Doc's Pizza. All of these great businesses wishing that you would be a part of their great big Rupert 4th of July celebration. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Excuse me, I got to get this in real quick. That on next Wednesday, July 1st, the Idaho Roll Call Memorial Monument will have a special tribute, and it's going to start at 6 p.m. in Rupert, and it's at Scott and C Street, and that is going to be a very special tribute to our Idaho Roll Call Monument in Rupert at 6 p.m. next Wednesday. Please try to stop by. We would appreciate it. And also, another part of your 4th of July celebration over in Rupert. Holy smokes, I got a whole litany of things here this morning. Pianist Jim Hendricks, professor of music at Chicago State University, is going to be in concert at the historic Wilson Theater on Saturday, June 27th, coming up this weekend at 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale at the Wilson Theater, the bookstore, Welch's Music in Burley, and At the Door. And he is an internationally known pianist, and he's performed with the likes of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, Dave Brubeck, Del Reese, and many, many more. For For more information, contact my old buddy. I say old buddy, Gary Shoresman, at 436-3982. 436-3982. Going to take a little break and listen to the big boys at CBS come in and mess up everything that we put together for the last hour. CBS News, and then I'll be back with Ben and Lacey Thompson. Don't miss it. We'll see you then. Welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch on a Wednesday. Going to be hot outside for the next couple of days. All the way into next week, might see triple digits. Warm. Stay cool. Take some water, drink a lot of water, and enjoy summertime right here in the Magic Valley. Hey, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. And be sure and get on the route service. Get rid of your garbage at 734-6969. And our friends at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, including all the bug spray and the fly spray at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. By the way, if you're hungry, everybody gets that way. Noontime, special time at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley, and today they're going to have pork loin cutlets with sautéed onions and mushrooms. Served with choice of side veggies and super salad, just $9.95. Always great specials, and in addition to the menu choices, you're going to love the food. You're going to love the people at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. This weekend, the boats are coming to town. As a matter of fact, they're going to be here tomorrow. The Maverick presents the 40th Annual Idaho Regatta, June 26, 27, 28 at the Burley Golf Course Marina. Holy buckets, it's going to be fantastic fun. Don't miss all the boat races. Get your weekend passes, and I mean really enjoy what's coming into Burley this weekend. The 40th Annual Idaho Regatta at the Burley Golf Course Marina. Don't you miss it. Well, right now, I've got 2 folks that I met about a month ago up in Bellevue, Idaho, at the Veterans Ranch Rodeo at the River Sage Stables. And I was so impressed with both of them, husband and wife team, that I wanted them to come on the program this morning. And I'd like to say good morning to Ben and Lacey Thompson. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
Oh, my. And you made it all the way down here and didn't get lost, right?
That's correct.
So our directions, or did you have the GPS? What did you do?
We didn't actually use the GPS. You know, we're country folk, so we just followed our nose.
Well, you did. That tells me that maybe we ought to do something for deodorant right here, huh? No, I was so impressed with you folks up there. And we'll start with you, Lacey, first and foremost. You were singing the national anthem, but to be very honest, you're in a wheelchair. What happened that you're in a wheelchair?
Zeb, I had an accident when I was a baby. I was 16 months old, and a weight from a weight set fell and crushed my spine.
Oh, my, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. It fell off basically a barbell or something?
Yeah, you know, my brother was 4 at the time, and we were playing where we shouldn't be, and the weights came out of the carriage, and just I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, my goodness. And so what was the repercussions from that?
Well, they rushed me to the hospital, and they thought that I was a goner.
Really?
They even turned off the ambulance lights, and when they had me in the hospital, they discovered that I had internal holes and bleeding and a major contusion of the spine. They said that I would never walk again.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let's start moving ahead year after year. What happened that changed your life, Lacey? I mean, you did naturally. You're here in the studio. Everything went well, but you still had the problems with the lack of mobility with your legs, right?
Sure. Well, you know, I did walk again on braces and crutches in my youth. And, you know, I had amazing parents. They are really the life changers for me.
I see.
You know, they knew that life was going to be really challenging for me growing up with a physical disability. So they pushed me hard, you know, and really really helped me find my own way of adapting to life.
Where are you from, Lacey?
I'm from Idaho.
From what town?
I'm from Eagle, Idaho.
Really? Been
I
there
am.
many, many times, yes. So go through school, into high school, etc. It was kind of tough, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. You know, we received our rights to go to school, children with disabilities,
Right.
in 1974. So, you know, I was able to integrate with, you know, other classes and just go to school like normal. But my mom had to fight really hard for accessibility. Accessibility in the bathrooms, ramps into school, sidewalks, all kinds of things. You know, that was probably the biggest challenge. I loved sports. You know, my parents are typical Idahoan outdoor enthusiasts, so I grew up doing everything that they did. And I also have 5 siblings who are also very active. And so I just did everything that they did. So going to school, I wanted to be, of course, on the basketball team.
Really?
And join anything that I could. I got top marks in PE, and I loved it. So when I got into junior high, I couldn't be on the girls' basketball team again, which was such a disappointment to me. So my mom had to really fight for me to be able to have some kind of adaptive sport. And, you know, really had to fight with the school district for me to be able to participate in some way. And eventually I was able to join skiing and also the track and field team.
Really? Now, may I ask this? All this time you were trying to walk with the braces and the crutches or the wheelchair?
When I was 9, I had some surgeries that didn't go well. So after that point, I used the wheelchair.
Wheelchair.
So through junior high and high school, I used the wheelchair.
I see. And so I can relate to this. You know I can because right here I have a set of crutches that I walk on. And the accessibility factor and just getting around schools, and imagine years earlier how much of a strain and stress it was. And so did your mom prevail and help get accessibility for you?
I have a tough mom.
I'll bet she is. And take us now through high school and what happened after that.
You know, I fell in love with skiing.
Uh-huh.
I skied. I took adaptive ski lessons up at Bogus Basin with Rec Unlimited and learned how to ski in what is called a mono ski or sit ski.
Yes.
And loved it. Just felt so free out of my wheelchair, zooming down the mountain next to other people that are, you know, just perfectly able to do that.
Now, let me interrupt you rudely and ask you about this ski and explain the skiing situation that you partake of and what the chair looked like.
So it looks like it's just a little small seat. My feet are extended out in front of me. It's under this mechanism with a shock, and there's one ski.
One ski?
Just one ski.
And you're hurtling off the side of a mountain on one ski, basically.
Basically,
and
yes.
And you're tied into the seat.
Yes, you're
this
completely
does not
strapped
bode
in.
well, you know that. Now, I, in turn, took ski lessons when I came to Idaho.
Yeah.
And I had the opposite problem. They put outrigger skis on the crutches, and then I had 2 skis on my legs, and I could literally fall apart covering all 4 points of the compass in one fall. And so I was the opposite. I had too many skis and you didn't have enough. How long did it take you to learn how to ski in a fashion on that one ski?
The whole first day, I fell every single turn. And, you know, you have to learn how to turn in a monoski. You can't do the pizza wedge.
Yeah, right.
So they have someone behind you tethering you, or they have ropes that they help you turn. But it was so hard, Zeb. I mean, and I tell everybody, it's just like learning any new sport, but this just happened to have a lot more mechanical stuff with it.
Well, I got to ask a question because I'm intrigued by this. I mean, I can see maybe making one turn, possibly to the right. We all have a better balance area to the right and or the left, whichever. But now, what about to the left? And then what about if you crashed and burned? I mean, how did you get back up on that ski again?
Oh, man, you got to have strong arms. Push
Really?
yourself back up, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so then what accomplishments did you make in skiing?
Well, again, I loved it so much. I decided after 1 year of college, I called my mom and said, Mom, I want to go to the Paralympics.
Really?
It was going to be in Salt Lake City in 2002, and I just had to go. I felt like this was my chance. So I moved to Utah and trained my heart out with the National Ability Center in Park City, and worked so hard to get on the U.S. ski team.
Lacey, what was different in training for the Olympics in your position and condition as opposed to someone that had usage of all four limbs?
Oh gosh, Zeb, I didn't go to the Olympics, so I don't know, but I've seen those guys train day in, day out. I trained every single day. If I wasn't on the mountain skiing and doing drills, I was in the gym, or I was pushing my chair up hills, whatever it took. I had to complete about 50 races in the first 2 years just to qualify for U.S. ski team.
Oh, my goodness.
And that didn't even include Paralympics yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, okay, now take us from that point on further. When did you meet this gentleman that's sporting a brand new beard?
Well, let's see. We met in 2004 at my sister's wedding.
Really?
Yep, my sister lived in New Hampshire, and he was the best friend of the groom, and that was the moment.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, enter Ben Thompson, and I was so impressed with Ben up at the Veterans Ranch Rodeo up at Bellevue for what you do and how you do it and your involvement in helping the veterans. Give us a little background on you, and then we'll intertwine both of you as we go along.
Sure, Zeb. Well, much like you, I was raised in Wisconsin, just outside of a small farm town.
And by the way, what town was that?
This is a little dairy town called Mondovi, Wisconsin,
right,
northwest part of the state.
Right, okay.
And much like Lacey, grew up in the outdoors, spent all my time outside, running around in the woods, building forts, hunting, fishing. And my family also raised and trained sled dogs.
Really?
And so that was a unique part about my upbringing. We were known locally as the dog farm because everyone that lived around us were dairy farmers.
I see.
And we were the family that had the quote-unquote dog farm.
Okay, and sled dogs, I mean, you told me while we were up at the ranch rodeo, the fun and the training. Give us a little background on sled dogs, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, sled dogs have been used by mankind for thousands and thousands of years, you know, by folks that lived in Arctic regions that probably at some point in time tamed some wolves and wild canines and utilized them and lived cohabitated together, hunting and to provide food for their families and also for transportation in their nomadic lifestyles. And so that tradition still carries on to this day, not so much to help people survive as much, but in sport.
Now, are you still involved with sled dogs to this day?
We are. So I've been involved in the sled dogs, I guess you could technically say, for 40 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And at this point in time, Lacey and I support a sled dog kennel now of 16 animals. We are a professional level sled dog team. We compete all over the country. We've been as far as Quebec, Canada, raced all over New England in the lower 48. Of course, grew up in the Midwest and raced there. And so now that we are settled out here in Idaho, we compete here in professional level races in the Mountain West.
Let me ask you this, Ben, and this is worthy of some time right here. As a team, now explain how you and Lacey race these sled dogs. What do you do as a team to race these dogs?
Well, Lacey's very involved in the dogs. I mean, we do this definitely together. I mean, the training of the dogs starts from the minute they hit the ground. We have a litter of puppies, in fact, right now at this moment. And so right now, as they're in their critical stage of needing socialization, being exposed to everything that I expect them to handle and deal with as an adult. And so right now, we're spend a lot of time and energy raising those puppies, so that right from the get-go they understand that there's expectations, that they get rewarded for good behavior, and we reinforce just their natural tendencies because it's bred into them. I don't really have to teach them how to be a sled dog. They want to do what they've been bred to do. I just have to help shape it.
Is there a particular breed of dog, more so than others, that is most adapted to being a good sled dog?
Well, I can liken this because there's probably a lot of horse people in your audience, and the modern-day racing sled dog is kind of like what they did with the thoroughbred horse at one point in time in creating that breed. They went out and took the quarter horse and the Arabian and all these different breeds of horse to kind of create the ultimate race horse.
Right.
And we've done the same thing with sled dogs. So it's gone from the traditional purebred husky breeds like the Alaskan Malamute or the Siberian Husky, and over time, generations upon generations, we've bred in some of the bird dogs, some of the English pointers,
really,
German short-hair pointers, and greyhound actually as well.
Oh my!
And all of our dogs are a combination of those four breeds, very highly selectively bred for decades and decades to be shorter-haired, so they can get rid of and dissipate their heat. They're a little more hot-blooded than a traditional draft animal like a Malamute. They can do everything that the Malamute and the Siberian traditionally has done, but probably 10 times faster.
But aren't they more, being that I'm very naive about this, but wouldn't they be more susceptible, the short-haired dogs, to the extreme cold?
And that's a good point. So whenever you do something like this, there's usually also a drawback. And so the drawback is that they require more maintenance and care.
I see.
So they aren't quite as rugged and durable as those purebred dogs that were traditionally used in the Arctic. So we do things to make up for that by having to do extra preventative care, like running them with dog booties on their feet because their pads aren't as tough as the traditional husky. We have things like jackets and coats we put on them because they don't have enough of their own fur when it's cold out. We take extra care and caution. They live inside in a barn in the wintertime, so they can be out of the elements and out of the wind. They have insulated dog houses full of straw. And so, yeah, you have to do more care. But when you're out there on the line in competition, and you take the jackets off of them and you have them prepared and trained properly, they'll smoke the course pretty fast.
Okay, now let's get back to the team factor, the husband and wife factor. What does Lacey do to add to the team, and what do you do? I mean, do you each have your specific jobs that you do to contribute to the success of this dog sled racing?
Sure we do. I mean, Lacey's more in charge of the PR by nature because a lot more people like her better than me.
That's not true.
And she's a heck of a lot better looking.
Yeah, that I have to agree with right away.
Well, Lacey, in fact, races her own team. So we have adaptive equipment that we've helped develop or that we've modified from its traditional use to be usable for what we do. And Lacey has been quite a top contender in her own right in the class that she has raced in, which is we call the 4-dog dryland sprint. And so she's been quite successful running a team of 4 dogs of her own independently, and is placed right at the top in many competitions.
Let me ask you, Lacey, what is it like to be on the sled and have these dogs? What kind of speeds can they attain?
Oh my goodness, they go so fast. It's really different from skiing. You know, for me, skiing, I'm independent. I'm relying on myself.
Yeah.
In the team with the dogs, I'm relying on the dogs. You know, I'm trusting them. They're trusting me. I'm trusting them that we're not going to get wrapped around trees. We're going to follow the course. We're going to pass people successfully, other teams. And it is just an amazing bond that you create with the dogs. And I'll tell you, Zeb, you know, using my wheelchair and being able to go out in the woods by myself, you know, with the dogs, there is nothing like it.
Really?
It is an unbelievable sensation.
How many dogs are hooked to a sled?
Well, when I do dryland races, which I've been doing lately, I just use 4.
4? That's plenty, I would think.
It's very fast.
Yeah. Now, what about the control of the animals? I mean, whether it's Ben or whether it's you, I mean, how do you keep these dogs in control? All of a sudden, if they see a rabbit or a dachshund they don't like, I mean, are they going to veer off course and all of a sudden take you off a cliff or what?
I mean, they definitely can.
Really?
It happens. So you have to have a lot of hours and time in training, exposing them to those things. I purposely run my team through herds of cattle, past fence lines with horses, and things of that nature, so that over time they just get desensitized to some of those natural tendencies to want to chase and want to hunt, and instead stay focused on the job at hand. And they know that there's an expectation when we're in harness that we do so.
There was a comment that both of you made, dryland racing. Explain that to me, because I'm assuming it's a different kind of a sled and maneuverability of the sled, right?
Sure. Dryland racing is any kind of sled dog racing that's happening in the absence of snow.
Right.
So, in other words, dryland racing is using a variety of different types of wheeled rigs. So you see every kind of contraption out there. There's not a standardized piece of equipment at these races. It just needs to have wheels. It needs the ability to steer and have a braking system.
That's a good thing. I'm glad
you got to be able to steer.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
You got to be able to steer, and you got to be able to have brakes. And so that's the other piece. When you have wild animals and things that, when dogs are just going to be dogs, you have adequate equipment that helps you restrict the dogs and put the brakes on, anchor down, let whatever that is pass, so that you can continue on the trail.
Now, are you on a predestined course? I mean, is it a course that's made and they have a track or whatever, so that... Is that what it is?
Well, these trail systems oftentimes run over the top of existing trails, so it might utilize dirt roads, ATV trails, and things of that nature. So we have a whole set of commands that the dogs are taught, and you have special dogs that lead your team, your lead dogs, that are trained to understand verbal commands from the driver themselves. When you indicate you want to, it's just like driving horses, very similar to that. If you want to tell them to take a right-hand turn, you tell them G. And if you need them to go left and take a turn on another road or trail to the left, it's haw. And we have probably, easily a dozen different commands that those lead dogs end up learning.
And if they're going over a cliff, it's gee whiz. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
It's more than that. We can't say it on the radio.
Now, I got to ask you, and I don't mean to pry, but is there money to be made racing dogs like this?
No.
Okay, that was emphatic.
I mean, sure. I mean, when we're successful at a race and we win or come in the top, we do win some prize money, but it's usually a wash. By the time you have loaded your truck, put fuel in your rig, driven 6, 10, 12 hours or halfway across the country to go to one of these competitions, enter the race and pay the entry fees and all the expense of your lodging or whatever is associated with the weekend. If I win first place and come home with a check for $700 or $800, I've spent $700 or $800 just to get there and back.
You sound like a team roper.
You're right, exactly. Just like most people in horses, 98% of them probably never make a cent if you added up all your vet bills, your care, your fencing, and everything that goes into it. So same with dogs.
This sounds like a vocation that absolutely is supplemented by what you do otherwise. And basically, what else do you do, Ben?
Well, currently I work for an organization called Higher Ground. It is a nonprofit organization that provides community recreation opportunities. It's an inclusive program, so we cater all of our programs on the recreation side of the house to people that have various injuries or have been born with certain types of conditions and deserve to have equal opportunities for recreation and sport.
Absolutely.
The other side of our house at Higher Ground is a military-specific program, and so I work full-time for the military program, serving injured combat veterans from across the country. We bring them into Idaho, and we share our beautiful Sawtooth Mountain Range and all the other amazing resources we have here in Idaho to help them in their recovery process from the traumas of war.
I was so impressed with the both of you up at the Veterans Ranch Rodeo that we had in Bellevue. And I saw things and listened to people talk, and it brought tears to my eyes, because our vets that are coming home from very traumatic experiences, it's people like you that make their recovery so much easier, be that as it may. And it must have taken a long time to learn how to relate to these vets with their various injuries.
Well, I think it's a yes and no answer to that. For me personally, I'm a civilian. I'm a patriot. I was not a veteran. I am not a veteran myself, but I am a son and grandson of veterans.
Absolutely.
And my father is a combat veteran from Vietnam, and he was a corpsman. And I was lucky that my father was willing to share a lot about his experiences when I was a child about that. And I grew up with my father being very involved in his veteran community, and I would march next to him in our Memorial Day parades and listen to him speak and watch him do the color guard and be a member of his local veteran organizations. And being a corpsman, still to this day, his buddies call him Doc. He's still taking care of his men.
Absolutely.
Taking them to their doctor's appointments, getting them on walking and health and wellness programs, and still taking care of his men. So that was a big influence on me. And so even though I'm not a veteran, I guess that's been my gateway to have some sort of ability to relate to the plight and the cares and concerns of veterans. And as a civilian, in representing 99% of the population in our country that never did put their name on the line and go fight, we owe them that duty when they get home.
Absolutely.
Their brothers and sisters back here on the home soil need to embrace them, take care of them, do everything we possibly can to bring them in and make them our family, and to honor and respect them and serve them and give back to those who put it all on the line for us.
We got to take a hard break right now and send it back over to the studio, but we'll be back with more and take your questions for Ben and Lacey Thompson. I think an amazing husband and wife team, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, man, I'm really enjoying this morning's program with Ben and Lacey Thompson. Stay tuned, and your questions would be appreciated. But right now, I also want to remind you, tomorrow we're going to have Gardening for Idiots, named after me. I'm not very good in the garden. And it's brought to you by Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul, 438-5663. Everything for your garden, all the items you need for your landscaping at Vicky's Country Garden in Paul. And she'll be on the air with us tomorrow morning at 10:30. Also want to remind you, a big thanks to June Dairy Month and the United Dairymen of Idaho. Thank you, dairy farmers here in the Gem State. Thank you so much. We are on the air, and I thought an hour we could basically have enough information out that everybody could walk away and say thank you, but I'm going to have them back because we're not even touching the tip of the iceberg on information about a wonderful couple, Ben and Lacey Thompson, and we've been talking about abilities, not disabilities, but abilities, and we're going to start this part of it off with Lacey, and if you were listening last half hour, due to an injury as a child, she has been in a wheelchair basically her whole life, but has really not ever missed anything, I can tell you that. What do you like to do besides the racing and the skiing and that type of thing? What are your favorite items to do maybe at home, Lacey?
I write songs and sing and play the guitar.
Which is what I was leading up to, because you brought your guitar with you, didn't you?
I did.
And what kind of music do you like to sing the best? Country or modern, contemporary, what?
Most of the songs that I write end up being very folk or country sounding.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And if Ben holds a microphone for you, can we maybe get you to sing a little bit of a song? Is it one that you've written or what?
A song that I've written, yes.
Okay, what's the title of that song?
The Eagle Without Wings.
The Eagle Without Wings. This is interesting because I remember a song that a good friend of mine wrote and recorded and sang at the national finals, and that was Dirk Godbey, a song similar to that.
Oh, wow.
And I've got it on tape here someplace in the studio. But without further ado, if I could have Ben hand you the guitar. You talk about abilities, man, I'm starting to feel really overshadowed here this morning because these people are so wonderful and so gifted. And Lacey is going to sing a little song for us right now, so go ahead and I'll just shut up and let you take it, Lacey. Go ahead.
Oh, there once was an eagle without any wings, but still he could fly because he could sing. Have you ever heard an eagle sing? They say it's impossible impossible. Have you ever seen an eagle fly without wings? It's the most beautiful, wonderful thing. The other eagles, they gathered around to listen to the sweet voice, to listen to the strong sound. Have you ever heard an eagle sing? They say it's impossible. Have you ever seen an eagle fly without wings? It's the most beautiful, wonderful thing. Hearing the sweet melody, the eagles carried him up to the sky. He sang and he sang and he sang. Upon their backs he could fly. Oh, have you ever heard an eagle sing? They say it's impossible. Have you ever seen an eagle fly without wings? It's the most beautiful, powerful, wonderful thing.
Wow. I am impressed. Thank you so much, Lacey Thompson. Thank you. Now, are you self-taught, or did you take lessons on the guitar?
I took some lessons when I was young, yes.
Did you? My parents, at first, they wanted me to play the accordion, and fat kids should never learn how to play the accordion. It hurts.
You must be from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, the polka, we got a 1 and a 2.
Oh, yeah, you betcha, don't you know?
Yes, sirree, we're going to listen now, and all that kind of thing. But what about your music career? Are you trying to expand that?
I am, yes. You know, I'm working on a speaking tour and incorporating my music into that.
My goodness, a speaking tour and incorporate the music into it. Now, let's talk about the speaking tour. What is the message on the tour that you want people to know about?
You know, I just worked at a camp for children with disabilities and just showing them and mentoring them with what's possible, you know, how they can adapt and learn how to play sports and do activity, you know, get active. And, you know, I really want to just kind of give a message to their parents that they can do it. You know, there is not a lot of books, there's not a lot of resources out there on how to raise a child with a disability and what to expect. You know, I've talked to so many parents that ask me about, for instance, my marriage to Ben and what it was like going to college and being a woman with a disability and so many things that they just don't know and don't know what to expect.
Do you find that even today, I think there's been a big transition since I had polio as a little guy, and that was back in the 50s, but do you think there's been a better understanding and a better sense of information that's been given to people so they understand more about people with disabilities? And they're not really disabilities, they're physical challenges.
Yeah, you bet. You know, things have changed a lot, Zeb, you know, even when I was going to school, for the better. You know, the biggest thing, though, is to know that adaptability is possible. You know, no matter what happens to you in your life, you can adapt. All of us know how to adapt so well.
What's your attitude? And I want Ben to answer this also after you. But what's your attitude? And you've heard it. I know you have, maybe 1,000 times like I have. Well, you can't. Well, you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Well, you couldn't. Well, nobody else like you has ever done that. You heard all the negatives. And if you're like me, that was all the more inspiration to make make me mad enough to just go do it anyway.
Absolutely. I tell anyone, you just tell me that I can't, and I will prove you wrong.
I'm writing a book, and one of the slogans that I wrote for my life is that it's not so much that I wanted to, but I did it because they didn't think I could. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, I think can't isn't in our vocabulary.
Yeah.
It certainly never was in Lacey's, and when she and I crossed paths, we had so many likenesses to one another, just in our attitude, the way we perceive the world, and just the belief that really, truly anything's possible if you have true grit and you dedicate yourself and you make a conscious choice to persevere and have resiliency. And if you're surrounded by good people and you have a partner in crime like I do in Lacey, that truly together you can accomplish more than you can ever imagine, and you can overcome,
Well, let's talk about the marriage. I mean, how many years have you been married now? You better not mess this one up, Ben.
It'll be our 10-year anniversary this July.
All right, now 10 years. And what was it that drew you to Lacey, and conversely, you to Ben, Lacey? I mean, what was the drawing card there?
For me, I mean, just her true beauty. I mean, not just her physical beauty, but also just her dedication, her determination.
Yeah.
When I met Lacey, I'd never met a person that had accomplished so much in their lifetime at that point in time, which she was 25 years old, and I wasn't much older. My first take of Lacey was just, I was completely impressed and just in awe of this incredible person that's had an extraordinary life, who's obviously incredibly tough, has persevered through so many things, and has so much beauty and so much to share and give to this world that I wanted to be part of that.
Wow. Lacey, in the marriage 10 years, and I'm sure just like Deanne and I mean, there's obstacles that come up and there are roadblocks, but they're something that you can either step around or step over. What has been the hardest part of marriage in a wheelchair?
Oh, that is a good question.
I know I can relate to that on crutches because there's a lot of trials and tribulations, but what's been the toughest part for you two?
It's interesting. There are just some things that I need help with.
Yeah.
And when you live in the country, as I'm sure you know, there are more obstacles, and I rely on Ben, and sometimes it's hard to do that because I feel so indebted to him. He has done so much for me. He's been there by my side through some of the hardest parts of my life, dealing with illness and other obstacles.
And I can relate to that because Deanne is the same way to me. She has helped me so much, especially in the last 2 years with all the surgeries and everything that I've had and all the health problems. And you have to develop a bond and a team. And boy, I see a strong team sitting on the other side of this table. I'm really respectful of both of you.
Thank you.
Ben?
Yeah, we scratch each other's back for sure. Early on in our relationship, just because I'm a helping and giving person, I would say, hey, let me put this, wheelchair in the back of the truck, or let me carry that, whatever. And she at one point turned around and just, gave me the business and just said, I can do it. And I said, look, I don't question for a second that you can do these things yourselves. I was like, but you know what? God gave me this burly physical body, and what a shame if I don't use it. It's easy for me to do those things, and you don't have to fight every single battle there is. Let me do some of that.
I agree, but I can also tell by looking at both of you that you've never had an argument and never had a quarrel.
No, never, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we really just help each other out. I probably fill in maybe on some of the more physical things, which a lot of is what I drug her into anyway, because I like to live out in rural, beautiful places. Not that she doesn't, but it does come with a lot of challenges with snow removal and mud and just everything that comes with it, which is a little more challenging in a wheelchair than if you're using your legs to walk on. So, but Lacey, I find my strength in her. She has such incredible life perspective and wisdom.
Absolutely.
And so she really does a lot to help me, I think, on a lot of emotional levels to handle things in life that are challenges for me, and we're just a great team.
I want to do something after this weather forecast, this break, and I want to ask you, Lacey, and you, Ben. Everybody, no matter what their age, I believe has to set goals, or life's not worth living. And you have to have a different set of goals at a different stage in your life. And I want to get into both of your goals for the future. And we've got about 9 minutes left in the program. Unfortunately, that's not long enough, but I want to get into that in just a moment. Don't forget Scarro's Meats with Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Oh my goodness, check out the hot summer barbecue special, only $199. 50 pounds of meat for $199, ribeye steaks, pork chops, brats, everything. It's delicious at Scarro's Meats. Right now, here is the weather.
With your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Gina Jameson. Looking at mostly sunny skies for today. Slightly breezy, really not going to cool us off, though. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. High of 91. Tonight, expect a low near 58. Now for tomorrow, looks like sunny skies. High of 93 with an overnight low of 58. Creeping up to 96 for Friday. And then as we head on into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looks like highs are going to be in the triple digits. So make sure you wear sunscreen and drink plenty of water. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious. Custom meat processor for over 20 years, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Scarro's Meats in Jerome. We'll start ladies first. And what are your goals? What do you want to do? I mean, what you've done in the past, Lacey, is outstanding. But what about the next decade? What do you want to accomplish?
Life. I want to have more experiences. The more we challenge ourselves and push ourselves out there to have more experiences in life, the more we learn. And I want to just have adventure with my husband and, live a long time.
Oh, my. Have you got anything certain? Like you've already done the dog racing, which I've never done. You've done all the skiing, which I never was good at. I mean, do you want to develop maybe like a public speaking tour you alluded to earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben and I have talked about starting our own nonprofit organization, and our own foundation to really serve, a greater force in our community.
Absolutely. Ben, how do you relate to that as far as goals for the future?
Yeah, Lacey and I would like to team up and continue to take our message out there to help inspire and motivate others to spread hope.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of challenges for a lot of folks out there, and that's just part of being human, and it's just our job and our duty. I think it's a mission that we have to help pick people up off the ground, brush off their pants, and keep them on their way through life.
There's so many people, Lacey, you and I can relate to this better than most, is that you get to feeling down, you get to feeling a little bit of, oh, woe is me, why me, and that kind of an attitude. But it doesn't take long to look around, and you're going to find somebody real quick that's a lot worse off than you.
Sure.
And those are the people that you want to try to help.
Absolutely. I want to share my experiences with others and really inspire them that they have what it takes. They've got it.
Absolutely.
They have it inside of them to adapt, to whatever comes in your life, whatever happens.
If you had the power this afternoon to create something or create an agency or a workforce that would get the message out, how would you do it? I mean, what would you try to tell people?
You want to answer that, Ben?
Ben?
Oh, that's all you.
I see a little passing of the buck here.
Ben and I, we've had so many, amazing experiences, good and bad. And, we want to come see people. We want to visit with them. We want to talk to them. We want to hear what they have to say and share what we have experienced and what we know.
Yeah.
Ben, your work with the veterans is doing a great job trying to restore their faith in community, if you will, and also to kind of get over the hurdles of maybe trusting and relying on friendships, etc. But that's true in all cases. I don't care if it's someone like me or someone like Lacey. I mean, everybody could benefit from your experiences and ability to relate to them.
Yeah, I think that not only just for human beings in general, and certainly veteran populations, what they tell me is probably the thing that they yearn for most is regaining a sense of life purpose and mission.
Yeah.
You know, when so much has been taken away from you, when people and relationships have been taken from you, from the way your body may have used to function or work, and you've come back from combat with a lot of things different and changed, and your perception maybe of the world also being so, you know, finding your place to put an anchor down within life from this point forward again, and finding that new mission and that new passion for life and reinventing yourself. And just like you said, it's not just the plight of the veteran, but I think it's for human beings in general. Life happens, and you have your ups and downs, and you can find yourself in a place feeling maybe somewhat disconnected and needing or wanting or yearning for a new path, and helping people rediscover their passions, to dig deep and find out what is it that makes you swing your feet out from your bed and put them on the floor in the morning more than anything else. That's the most powerful tool or medicine, if you will, that you could ever provide yourself, is exploring that, tapping into it, and then putting it into action in your life so that it can work for you to be satisfied and have enjoyment in the midst of all the other things that maybe sometimes you can't control.
You know, one thing, I'll say this, and I'm almost out of time, but I think too many times people that have never had a dilemma in their life as far as a physical challenge, they become complacent, and they really don't appreciate what they have until they lose it. And that's the key I want to talk about, is because in the blink of an eye, in the ticking of a second on a clock, somebody's life could change due to an accident, an illness, whatever, and we all are not immune to having a physical challenge. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, we all have things that come into our life that we have to change. We have to figure out how to change to those situations.
Right, and you've done so well. We'll have final thoughts here in just a moment. Right now, I want to remind you of our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, ready for summer travel with the best of tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. They've got all the tires. And, of course, the best in brake service, the best in brake service for well over 30 years. Front-end alignment, shocks and struts, everything at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The very best with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy, my old buddy, on Overland in Burley. The best. The professionals helping you drive carefully. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Again, ladies first. Lacey, final thoughts about the program this morning. I wish we had another half hour. What do you want the public to remember from this interview this morning?
Well, first, thanks so much for having us on today. It's been a pleasure, and I just really would love to say, I wouldn't change anything. I would not change the experiences that I've had. I appreciate my perspective from this chair. It has shown me compassion, and it has shown me how to adapt and show that and teach that to other people.
God bless. I couldn't agree with you more. I wouldn't change a thing in my life. I really wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to take a look at the new avenues that might not be available. And I've had a wonderful life. Ben, your thoughts quickly, please.
Yeah, I just want to leave the message that, help each other. Take your talents and your passions and your skills and abilities and share them with the other folks in your community that might have less or might be in a bad spot, and do that to whatever capacity you can. And when you give to others and you give and invest in your community and lend that helping hand, or just put your hand on somebody's shoulder and give them a hug, goes further, I promise you, than you might think it ever could to those who are in need. And you're going to be in that position someday, and there's going to be folks that are going to step forward and do those same things for you. And I just want to encourage people to do that.
God bless. Ben and Lacey Thompson from basically Fairfield, Camas?
Yeah, we live in Camas County, Idaho.
Yeah. And one of these days, you got to promise me, at least for a short period, a ride on the sled dogs, if you don't mind.
You bet.
I want to be the guy that goes, gee whiz!
Okay. You got it, man, anytime.
Right. Love you guys. Ben and Lacey Thompson on the air this morning, and remember, it's not about disabilities, it's about abilities and how you use them. Thank you so much. God's blessings to you. We'll be here tomorrow morning at 8:06. Ride the horse for 3 hours until 11. Zeb at the Ranch, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.